I wouldn't say it that much. I would say it out loud like this because this is a one-way
I'm well aware
to not get
I'm
invited
well aware.
back on any panels.
It's because he never said that he was fine with rapes or 9/11 or any of that. He believes in human dignity. He believes in respect for every human being. That shit all got clipped. You're getting manipulated. You're getting twisted because the media and the Republican Party want to take advantage of you and the Democratic establishment. I'm fucking done with it. I'm done. Like I wanted to be here because I wanted people to know that the things that you're saying are true, even though you shouldn't have said it that way. You should not have said it that way. And also, like, I'm glad that you are trying to show that people China is not crazy and random, like that everyone in China isn't insane. But also, like, maybe we get more of a nuanced explanation from you about China. You know, like maybe there are. That's all I'm saying.
I talk about it all the time. Because the problem is, I don't stream in 20-second increments. I talk for hours on end, and the medium, the platform that I'm on, makes it super easy, especially because, unlike podcasts, there's also a constant back and forth communication that's taking place on these contentious subjects. Yeah. So of course there's going to be people. I've made it a policy to allow anyone and everyone who wants to speak to be able to speak in the chat, and I read everything. It's insane. It's very difficult to parse through it, but there are plenty of instances where I'm like retaliating against someone, and then they'll clip it out of context. And like, I mean, Scott Jennings did this recently.
He's a fucktard. I debated him once.
Yeah, he's well, the Republican Party strategy, this midterm strategy, is specifically to do the clip show. Basically, they're going to go through all of the the 22,000 hours of live broadcasting that I have out there readily available, and then be like, this guy is bad. This guy is crazy. The DSA is crazy. These guys are, horrible monsters or whatever, and they're just going to try to tie the most negatively framed aspects of our commentary to like bastardize,
and they're going to try to undermine the truthful narrative that you are putting forth. And that's the piece that I'm like, well, nope, I guess we got to defend Hasan Piker now, because the thing that he's trying to explain is getting thrown out, and that's what that's exactly why they're doing this. I mean, you didn't help it with some of the language that you used. I mean,
look, I don't have a polished academic way of. No, but I don't have a polished academic way of, or even a respectful, civil way of discussing some of these things, because at the end of the day, I'm filling 8 hours of broadcast time, and I'm also trying to be entertaining as well. Yeah. So that is the reason. That is the reason why there's like high intensity moments and stuff like that. But then there's also moments that are not high intensity where they will straight up clip me reading someone's comment and then make it seem like those are my opinions. Yep. Even if I'm like arguing against them.
Yep. I've seen that.
Like, and even the most like, the most commonly deployed one about it doesn't matter if rapes happen. That is literally me debating someone who at the time was suggesting that there was, why are you even lending credence to the fact that sexual assaults may have taken place on October 7th? In the longer conversation, I straight up explained to him, like, look, sexual assault is a commonplace in incidents like this, and it doesn't even matter if they happened or not. It doesn't change. It doesn't justify genocide.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. So that I wanted to be able to respond to you about with that. If you're responding and you actually want to bring that person around, right? Which again, you may have a different goal. You have a show, right? If you actually want to bring that person around, you have to disarm them first, right? So validating their concern and saying like, no innocent should be.
No, I know, but their concern wasn't that they were saying, no, their concern was that they were saying no rapes happened. Why are you even lending credence to
right. Yeah.
So like, so that's the irony of it, is that I wasn't even engaging in like what they claim I was engaging in.
I know.
So that's what I mean. It's hurts. Like, it's impossible to get around that. it's just virtually impossible.
But I don't think it is impossible. Like, I just don't accept that, because if you're saying something that's true, and I have the same philosophy as a jury consultant, if you're saying something that's true, you should be able to prove it. Like, and the truth should win. And it doesn't sometimes. And if it doesn't, it's because you didn't show people the full picture. Yeah. So I guess we just have to show, like, it's so hard for me as a Jew to try to convince another Jew that there's a genocide and apartheid state happening. And my personal hero is Jimmy Carter. Like, and he's been my hero for a decade, because he had the courage of his convictions when nobody else did. It actually didn't have to do with like Israel in particular. It was just the fact that, like, it blew my fucking mind that the person who had arguably alive, who had done the most for the state of Israel, was being called an anti-Semite. And he's still, because the Israeli government was siphoning money away from the Palestinian refugees so that they didn't have food and water, like, he still was willing to be called an anti-Semite so that those like families and children could get water and food that they needed. And I just admired the fuck out of that. And so here's the thing. I think that if people were presented the story in the way that it was meant to be told, in the way where it shows the full picture, then it's undeniable. And if you still deny it at that point, then fuck you. But but let's show them the full picture. That's what they need to see.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, if I'm not allowed on these broadcasts, then there's no way that I can. There's no way that I can actually show my perspective to these people. And I think they realize that it's impossible for them to present me as this dangerous radical in a one-on-one conversation. So they just stick to the clip show.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm sorry I talked your ear off.
No, this was great. This was a wonderful experience. Is there anything you want to promote?
You guys can check out Maddie's Hot Take, MADDIE, and it's one take, not multiple takes. I'm on News Nation a lot. And I have a Substack that I share with Marcus Flowers. He's the guy who ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it's called With All Due Respect. And I have a series right now where it's called The War for the Right to Think for Yourself. And it's basically about how all of modern American politics can be traced back to Vatican II and the decision to issue the Dignitas Humanae, which is basically saying that everyone has a right to freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, and the right to think for themselves, which undid like 1,000 years of just war tradition. And so it's tying all of the news stories together. That's the goal, is to be able to show people the full picture. And thank you for having me on. Thank you for bringing me here. I'm sorry if I made things awkward or made you feel weird.
No, not at all.
But, and thank you guys for listening. Thank you for having me on your show.
I mean, people are going to yell at you a lot for even coming on this broadcast.
I didn't say anything I didn't mean. I didn't say anything that wasn't true. Look, again, the shit that you think that Hasan said, he did not say. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. That's what happened.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. I'm going to continue streaming.
I was going to say, you can talk to your people? Yeah. Okay. You can, yeah.
All right. We're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to the Natalie Harp story now.
To the president of any aid, in part because she's tireless. She is incessantly around him. The president likes people who like him, and he loves people who love him. And it's hard to find someone who is sort of more devoted to President Trump than Natalie Harp.
To give you a sense of how close Harp is to the president, CBS News reported earlier this month she was one of 3 aides, plus Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who secretly flew with the president out of Turkey on a government plane instead of the larger 747 usually used as Air Force One. Her role and influence has been under renewed scrutiny ever since. Kelly?
All right, Ed, appreciate it.
The brother of top Trump aide Natalie Harp is speaking out front tonight. Preston Harp has been estranged from his sister for a few years, but obviously you can see they grew up together. He's sharing these photos with out front of them together as children, weighing in on the intense attention that Natalie is now getting after Democratic Senator John Ossoff raised questions about her role in this White House. Preston, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and I know you've shared some photos with us, you and your sister Natalie as children. Obviously, there you are, Padres fans. There you are with your parents, and now your sister is front and center in the news. I mean, front and center as it gets. Did you ever think you'd see something like this?
No, it really blows my mind.
I mean, you know, your sister, my understanding is, first became known to Trump back in 2019. And at the time, she credited him, Preston, with helping her beat a tragic battle, but one that she incredibly beat with bone cancer. Here's what she said.
This president pushed that forward and possibly saved your life.
He did. As I like to say, I'm not dying from cancer anymore thanks to President Trump. I'm living with cancer. I'm living the quality of life that I always wanted to have, that it took me 4 years to find because I wasn't offered it here. It took President Trump going to Washington to be able to get that for me.
I don't even understand what the fuck is up with this, like, President Trump gave me a secret potion and saved my life shit. Like, what capabilities does... What capabilities does this potion have?
After that, Preston, she had speaking slots at the Faith and Freedom Conference, at the 2020 RNC, right? She became very high profile and then started working for Trump.
What was that? One of the Clippers Please Don't Post the Segment moments? I don't know if anyone reminded you yesterday. No. No, they can post it if they want. I don't care. The guest appearance, I understand, for YouTube. No, it's fine. New HuffPost piece about you. Oh damn! I just did this. This morning. By the way, we congratulations to Aisha Wahab. I am fortunate enough to have helped carry her across the finish line. She won 53% of the vote against the 47% coming for Melissa Hernandez. This was another devastating blow to AIPAC. AIPAC dumped, I believe, $6 million into this race. Yeah, or $5 million into this race. Another W for us. It is insane. So, yeah. It is crazy to me. Is she a Democratic socialist? Just a good progressive? No, she's just she's a progressive. She's not a Democratic socialist. She is a progressive that was or is critical of Israel, very critical of Israel. And
I said my streaming's back.
And the thing is, it was one of those instances where, like, she was clearly, party bosses in California wanted to clear the runway. This was Eric Swalwell's seat, and they wanted to put up a senior Democrat in this district. But she was intending to run in this district anyway. So the Aisha Wahab story is very interesting. So she's very popular. She's a real fighter. She has a lot of experience in this district and in the state as well, in the state legislature. And the Democratic Party machine comes in and says, Eric Swalwell's out. We want to put our own person here. Okay? She says, fuck that. I'm running for the seat, and I'm not going to stop just because you want an older person with seniority to get this appointment. Okay? And the party did not like that at all. The party did not like that at all. Okay? There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of drama here. California State Senator, she decided, no, we're gonna do democracy. You can't stop it. And so when she ran in the first election, she got like 60% of the vote, right? In the first election, guys, please stop sending me the same Ottoman joke over and over again. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here to explain to you what took place in this fucking race.
This is Tyler Fiorito, live reacting to the Hasan stream. Honestly, if he says anything crazy or like goes away for a little bit, I will give you some updates and cover some news for you. He's a little bit of a guy who gets pretty emotional on stream sometimes, so I try to give you a better perspective. I don't disagree with like left-wing populism, but I do disagree sometimes with his opinions, especially on authoritarian regimes. Anyways, back to the stream.
So don't come to me and then fucking be like, oh, why is this like random dumbass, like very clearly Republican in the state legislature? How does this happen? How does this happen? How does a person who is like very clearly a Republican, run in these districts and win these seats? This is how it happens because none of you dumb fucks give a shit. Okay? None of you dumb fucks give a shit. You guys think you're above it. You think it's like irrelevant. You think it doesn't matter.
As I said, he gets pretty angry sometimes.
Someone who is an Israel critical candidate to win another congressional district, and they put $6.3 million. $6.3 million in mailers and negative ads beginning August 3rd. Do you understand? $6.3 million in 1 month, less than a month, for a fucking house seat. So while your dumbass doesn't care about this shit, clearly California politics is terrified. Do you understand? This is an unprecedented barrage. She has to win again in November, but this is going to make her chances far better, far easier. You understand? The fact that they dumped $6.3 million into this race now was because they didn't want to have to deal with it in November, and now they're going to have to deal with it in November as well. Expanded to each of the 435 districts, that would be the equivalent of $2.74 billion. And while AIPAC has seemingly unlimited money, they don't actually have unlimited money. Okay? And it's not just 6.3 over the course of like an entire race that spans across a year. This is a special election where they put down $6.3 million in 17 days. $17 fucking days. I don't think you guys understand how psychotic that is. Much tighter margin than her 21-point win over Hernandez in June 2nd primary and her 26-point win in June 26th special election primary. They were able to close the gap from 26 points to first 21 points, and then now down to 6 points. That's how much money plays a role. That's also part of the reason why That's also part of the reason why these motherfuckers hate my ass. Okay? Because no matter how rich you are, at the end of the day,
Sherry, can I ask you? I see your message in chat, Sherry. I'm just wondering, what has Piker said that you actually hate? Like, I'm not a fan of communists myself, but I'm just wondering, like, what has he said that you really hate? Like, he said some crazy things. I think he gets angry at chat. Obviously, swears a lot. But like, what is he actually saying that is making you think that he like doesn't deserve to have a place in American discourse? That's what I'm curious about. Anyways, let's continue. I would love to hear from you, Sherry.
she wanted the district I lived in while in California. I felt so shitty about the Swabble situation because my dad was a huge fan of his and find out that he was crazy. I'm glad I can no longer find a capital L liberal and align more with progressive values. I'm glad to see this win. Thanks for the update. I'm looking to join my local DSA chapter. I think Champaign is the closest. Another Champaign socialist. It's just mind-boggling, man. The amount of fucking money they spend. Yes, I will get the Israel lobby authors on stream, Lustig and Eli. It's crazy. Is this another win on your scoreboard? Yes. Put that W on the leaderboard. Bernard has endorsed Angie Nixon, which is good. Yo, can you DM APAC and be like, how about a truce? No. What is this? Estonia comes to me in my dreams?
Estonia, rise up. Estonia in chat. We got Estonia. Also, I don't know if this is going to be copyright claims. That's why I'm muting the audio. But let's go for Estonia. It's one of Hasan Piker's recurring bits about the fact that people make a weird thing about Israel, but nobody talks about, like, what if you said a different country like Estonia? Like, Estonia comes to me in my dreams.
The community all the time. Melissa comes from the rich ass community on the other side of our hills.
Whiskey, I just wanted to say that I disagree. I think communism can be straight or gay, but it is not good for this country. And I am not using gay as a pejorative, not because I'm gay, just because it's funny to like take you seriously. Hispanics for Trump? I don't know why. I didn't remove your comment. Dick Johnson, come back, Dick. Dick, come back. Dick Johnson, I didn't remove your comment. YouTube did. I don't censor anybody. I apologize.
Understand, we're going to continue fighting. Okay? We're going to continue fighting no matter what. That's it. Now let's get back to Natalie Harp.
How much do you think she truly believed that Trump saved her life?
Well, that's an interesting question. But if she thinks about it, what he did was he made experimental drugs legal to try, and that insurance would pay for it. So it's not like he like physically saved her life, you know? It's kind of different. Like, it's like Donald Trump didn't pay his own money to save my sister's life. So it really just depends how you look at it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, and look, I guess it's just one example of everyone trying to understand, who this person is who spends so much time and, is with the president all the time, right? He's the commander in chief and she has such an important role. So there was a series called The Art of the Surge just a couple of years ago, Preston, 2024. And in it, your sister talks extensively about working for Trump. I just wanted to play a clip of it for you. Here she is.
Politics was never something I liked. Business was my background, real estate, MBA. I was very much not interested in politics in California. I feel like you get the same kind of sort of politicians. But when I was sick, I started watching the Republican debates. He was my first exposure to politics, and I loved it. Like, this guy, he gets it.
So she says there, he was her first exposure to politics, right? You guys grew up in the same home, the same family, so you understand where she's coming from in a way that no one else does.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think drew her to him?
Not her.
Yeah.
Well, my mom raised us with the idea that American exceptionalism was the correct way of looking at things.
Is this guy a Hasan head, by the way? I feel like it's kind of wild that because he says some shit on his interview where I'm like, this dude is like he's not only a pothead, but also like a little bit of a socialist.
That the United States is the boss of the world, that slavery was back then, that was normal. People weren't bad because they had slaves. And honestly, and it's like Trump wants to take all those books out of schools. He wants to rewrite history. And so I think that my sister, unfortunately, didn't break out of that delusion that my mom raised us with. And Trump is like everything that my mom taught us to respect. So I think that's where her infatuation for Trump comes from, honestly, because I don't think it's a physical attraction. Let's get real, personally, I don't think so.
So when you use the word infatuation, I understand your point about the nature of it. I mean, she obviously is his assistant. They call her the human printer, right? She prints everything. She takes his social media dictation. She accompanies him on almost every trip, including when he goes to Mar-a-Lago or his golf club in New Jersey on the weekends. And she was, of course, Preston, as we're all now aware, one of the very few people who did not include the Secretary of State or Treasury that Trump took off Air Force One via that catering truck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that. If you're really friends and loyal to your team, why would you just go peace out and take another airplane when you think the other airplane's going to get shot down? Like,
what do you think it is about her? I mean, what do you make of how much the
Meanwhile, this guy's a human fax machine, all fax, no printer. No, I love this guy.
President relies on her. We've learned a lot, from Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan's new book, we've learned, right, about his incredible reliance on her at all hours of the day to post social media posts, just as one example.
Yeah. I think that Trump's best friends are people who are his fan club, and so she's his biggest fan. And so that's probably why he likes her. And she's good looking.
He's not a Hasan head, but he's based.
She's got a good personality. I don't know.
Bro, what is he supposed to say? Trump wants to fuck my sister? I mean, if there's one guy who would say some shit like that that's a little bit out of pocket, it's this guy, right? I mean, am I crazy? It kind of strikes me as the type of dude who would say that on CNN.
I want to ask you, Preston, something
she thinks that he saved her life. So, somebody living with that kind of gratitude, that must feel pretty good.
I want to ask you about something. I don't know if you knew about this. You probably didn't. But we're just breaking it here at CNN this hour, and that is, two sources, Preston, are telling CNN that your sister was involved. Back in October 2023, right? The context here is Donald Trump's motorcade was going to leave Trump Tower for a court appearance, and they were all getting into the motorcade. Oh, yeah. There was sort of a screaming match about who was getting in what car.
Yeah, no, he's a socialist. This is anti-imperialista, socialista, internacionalista, músico on his on his account, and he posts nonstop about Palestine. This guy's the GOAT, man. This guy's awesome. He's posting about Hasan Kanafani.
Turned out that there wasn't room for Natalie. So she insisted, she said no. Trump had personally asked her to come to this court appearance, so she needed to be in the car. Now, according to these sources, the end result is that your sister jumped into the trunk of one of the motorcade vehicles to go to the court appearance in Lower Manhattan.
That's really funny. I didn't even know about that.
I mean, what?
Sorry, I'm just adjusting audio. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the stream. We're just going to keep covering news pretty much like most of the night. And then, yeah, we're going to...
Into the trunk of their car, like...
So I mentioned Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan's book, Regime Change, Preston, which, of course, I know you've heard a lot about it. But, in that... Natalie's name became known to a lot of people, right? Prior to the whole NATO plane incident, she was in the book as an important player, and her role, her importance to the president became clear. They report that she left him, the president, a series of letters in personal spaces where she told him, "You're all that matters to me," in one, and another one.
Sorry, y'all. Fixing the headphones over here. 1 second.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I'd say since she was like 16, she's had an obsession with gosh, how do I explain this? She's written letters to other presidents. Let me put it that way.
What the fuck? Hey, yo! She's like one of those like Charles Manson fan type individuals.
And so like her dream came true finally.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying that she actually was very aware of politics, right? And that she had written other presidents' letters. Do you happen to know which ones or what they were about or anything?
Bro, that's like, dude, fetishizing every president like this is almost as crazy as being obsessed with like serial killers. Like, what a strange fetish. What a strange thing to just like almost moving like Thomas Crooks. Yeah, true.
Thing, Preston, that you would be able to share here?
I didn't see the letter, but George Bush, obviously, during the Iraq War.
Anything, or she's
just like really into fucking right-wing presidents? What?
Bush, obviously, during the Iraq War.
And did anything ever come of that? I mean, did the White House ever respond or anything, or she just sort of sent a letter?
No, they never responded.
Yeah. Now, look, I've been emphasizing here, obviously, you know her in a way that no one else does as her brother, but you are obviously estranged from her at this time. But, we see those pictures of you all as children and your family. If she was listening to you right now, is there anything you'd want to tell her?
Yeah, I love you. I hope that you change and that you wake up and you realize that everybody on this earth is part of a human family, and no country is better than any other country. And the history of the United States is unfortunately really sad, and it shouldn't be rewritten. We got to all come together and try to make it better.
Well, I really appreciate your time and taking the time to talk to us. Obviously, your sister's in a position of incredible influence and power, and that's important to all Americans. So thank you for.
In a campaign speech in Atlanta on Sunday, Senator Ossoff turned the corruption focus on his Republican opponent, Mike Collins.
Now,
I'm skipping Ossoff.
The stage is set for the Senate race in Florida.
Angie Nixon says Florida is not red. It just has not been invested in by Democrats. And she's right. That's my mentality too. Talk about an inelegant segue. Endorsement tracker updated with Aisha's victory. 9 out of 8 over 9 out of 8 record above 50%. Have you seen this? Karen Bass with the worst opinion ever, stated by someone running for office in Los Angeles. She wanted them off. I do not believe that you should have a food vendor in front of a restaurant, period. Bass shot back, adding that she wanted them off the streets completely and in brick and mortar locations. Their presence near restaurants discourages people from going in, just like you shouldn't have encampments in front of a restaurant or in front of schools. You just should not do that. What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck is wrong with her, bro? What's her problem? What the fuck is her problem? Apparently it was a near career-ending debate. Yeah, I heard it was abysmal. Look, you want to know why I don't fucking touch Los Angeles politics, by the way? Last night, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman debated one another. And you probably didn't hear about it or see it at all. And that's because in the state that gave us Hollywood, there wasn't a working fucking camera equipment or team. It was hosted by the HOA. And it was basically a fucking Zoom call. A Zoom call which cut out in many different parts. So unless you were literally there, you had a very hard time seeing what the fuck was going on. Bass went after Raman in the pettiest, most personal ways. She kept mocking the MIT graduate as a clueless egghead with no idea what was going on in the city, stating twice that Raman governed as if LA were an academic institution, a line that sounded like a MAGA talking point that was originally trotted out by council member Imelda Padilla. Bass tried to paint Raman as a member of the ineffectual city establishment, not a newcomer, which fell flat, considering that Bass has held one elected office after another for 22 years, while Raman has only been in politics since 2020. Yes, it is the Homeowners Association. Yes, this is a screenshot from the Zoom call. Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association. Yeah, when I said HOA, you were like, oh, that must mean something different, right? No. No, it was literally the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association. I'm embarrassed. I am so fucking embarrassed. I'm so goddamn embarrassed of my fucking state, of my city. It is abysmal. Every part of this is abysmal. They booed when they mentioned Mamdani. The Hoa sucks so much. Like, you would think this is like Springfield or something. Like, you would think that this is the mayoral race for Springfield, Ohio. What is this? Ex-Biden campaign. Everyone keeps wanting me to watch this fucking...
What kind of a Democratic strategist are you? I mean, you come on a national show and you say that a must-win state like Michigan has an unfit candidate in El Said for Senate. And I can see you saying that maybe in the run-up. You know, I didn't vote for Said. I voted for Stevens. And it's okay. You could have promoted her as well. But now that we're down to the general, and are you trying to get Democrats not to vote for him? You can have your own personal views, which is fine if you don't like El Said and others. But as a Democratic strategist coming on a national program, I think that's totally unacceptable, and I think that you're doing a disservice. What do you say about
Stanley,
that?
before we talk to Michael, you said you did not vote for Abdul El Sayed. Will you support him in the general election?
Yes, I most certainly will, which is the reason I'm calling, as I'm calling on the Democratic line. He is not DSA. People try to put him off as DSA. He says he's not DSA. The DSA did not endorse him. And even if he was, I don't understand Michael coming on and doing that. Yeah,
Great. Let's get an answer from Michael LaRosa.
Well, I've never supported a Republican in my life.
Until now.
For the Senate, for the White House, for Congress. And I don't live in Michigan, so, I mean, my opinion really doesn't matter that much. But I could never support El Sayed for a couple of reasons. One, there's certain things that do transcend politics, that do transcend parties. And that's okay. That's what I was saying. Vote blue no matter who. The problem with that is who still matters. At least it matters to me. And I just come from a time when I watched people.
He's like, yeah, I'm a lifelong Democrat. I also am a lifelong racist. Okay. Hey, I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I also think that every Muslim is responsible for 9/11 and loves it. And Abdul El Sayed is Muslim, and therefore I can't see myself voting for him. Sorry, sucks to suck. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to put on my Klan's robe right after this interview is over.
People jumping out of windows on 9/11, 70 miles from when the towers were falling and burning for 3 months. We could smell it from where I was from in Pennsylvania.
You weren't even near the towers? You're saying 9/11 impacted me so dramatically that I hate all Muslims because I was in Pennsylvania? You should have just lied and been like, I was in the towers or something. The fuck's wrong with this guy? What a piece of shit this guy is.
Because of how the wind blew. It's personal to me.
We had a plane crash in PA. Dog, he didn't even mention that. You understand that, right? That's what's so crazy about it. He said 9/11, I could smell the towers from Pennsylvania. Also, none of this has anything to do with Abdul El Sayed. The fucker's wrong with this guy? New York Times just lost a defamation lawsuit. Wait, what? An Alabama jury says New York Times defamed former college basketball player Kai Spears in a 2023 article, awards $9.25 million in damages. What the fuck? A 2023 article incorrectly reported that the University of Alabama basketball player was at the scene of a deadly shooting. A jury awarded $9.25 million in damages. The Times had not lost a defamation lawsuit brought in the United States over one of its articles in more than 50 years. So, what happened? How did they fuck this up so hard? Why didn't they do a redaction? I don't understand. I got to see the details on this. This is actually kind of shocking because New York Times, I mean, let's be real. They haven't done great reporting when it comes to Israel-Palestine, but like, you know, they have a fairly high standard of reliable reporting usually. Law, the seminal defamation case is New York Times v. Sullivan. Way to pull an Ethan Klein, New York Times. after it published articles erroneously identifying him as the unidentified passenger in a car at the scene of a high-profile shooting. The Times based its reporting on information from two confidential sources. Spears, who was not in the car, alleged that the Times failed to use reasonable care in publishing false and damaging statements about him. During litigation in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Alabama, Spears sought discovery to uncover the identities of the sources and related information. The Times resisted, invoking Alabama's Shield statute, which protects journalists from being compelled to reveal confidential sources. United States District Court for the Northern District of Alabama certified two questions to the Supreme Court of Alabama concerning the scope of the state's Shield statute. The first question asked whether the statute protects the identity of a source. The Supreme Court of Alabama addressed the second certified question. I just don't understand why they didn't just like redact it. I'm trying to skip the paywall, but it's not letting me. Or not redact it, sorry, retract it. Oh my God, my fucking brain. Retract it. No, gift links don't work. It still makes me try to fucking it still forces me to create an account. Redact it. Was it a hit piece? They doubled down and failed? I don't know. I don't know what the actual... Crowley is so fucked. It's not even funny. What is this? Candace is rubbing off on me. Yeah, she is. Original suit asked for $75K. Yeah, see, it's like trying to get me to... Fuck. One of these days, I'm just going to take the L and fucking subscribe to the New York Times, bro. Ah! I'm so mad. I'm so fucking mad. They need money to pay for this lawsuit. Thank you for the on-wall link. Jesus Christ, we found it. Alabama jury determined, dude, it's so funny that they're writing about their own fucking L that they took. 8-person jury awarded $9.25 million in damages after a 9-day trial in U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Alabama. Kai Spears, who played for the University of Alabama men's basketball team, accusing it of libel and false light invasion of privacy. He claimed the article, which mistakenly reported he was a passenger in a car involved in a shooting, had caused him emotional distress and forever linked him with a murder. 3 other basketball players from the school were present at the shooting, which killed a 23-year-old mother. The Times corrected the article and added an editor's note after Mr. Spears filed his lawsuit, which disclosed the identity of the passenger in the car for the first time. The Times had not lost a defamation lawsuit brought in the United States for over one of his articles for more than 50 years. The Times and Mr. Spears did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The Times didn't respond to the request for comment. You're the Times. The Times did not immediately respond to request for comment by the Times. What the fuck? It's you, man. God, it's just what an abysmal situation, man. What are we doing? Actually, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how is the New York Times fucking up this hard? CNN has reached out to Jennings, who works for CNN. Yeah. It's not an Associated Press article. It's a New York Times article. I just don't understand how they hit him with 9.5 milli, dude. What the fuck? 9.5 million is so much. activist judges. Juries can go almost as overboard as they want. It was linked to a murderer. That's traumatic, I guess. Hasan Piker has reached out to Hasan Piker, who has failed to respond. Good news for your suit against Jennings. I mean, I don't think it works that way. If the dude was draftable, have no clue, he's trying to recoup possible pro pay. Someone said he was asking for 75 grand in damages and the jury gave him 9.5 million. I don't understand how that works, but I don't know. Everyone on jury duty also hates the New York Times people. Anyway, speaking of which, so going back to the Karen Bass saga, Karen Bass versus Nithya Raman. Bass frequently resorted to her trademark nervous laughter and repeatedly obviously crafted lines with all the enthusiasm of someone gulping down cod liver oil. Her furrowed brow and exasperated looks, which she had effectively used in her previous debates, made her come off as embittered, tired, and unable to defend the indefensible mess that has been her first term. This is LA Times, by the way. LA Times commentary. They're absolutely flaming her. At one point, the mayor even trashed one of LA's most famous industries, street vending. I really tried to like Bass. Her trajectory from South LA activist to nonprofit founders, Sacramento, Washington, and City Hall is impressive and important. Yet when Angelenos needed her to rise and succeed as their city faced one crisis after another during these last 4 years, Bass stumbled and stumbled again. Her flop of a debate performance left her sounding like someone with no vision or kindness. Career suicide for someone who has made her reputation on both traits. At this point, the architects of Bass's campaign need to burn sage to drive out bad spirits or just bow out altogether. Anytime something could go wrong, it has. Bass placed first in the primary with 34% of the vote, an abysmal number for a Democratic incumbent in a deep blue city. Her campaign's cynical gambit to boost washed-up reality TV star Spencer Pratt into the general election because he'd be an easier opponent than Raman failed. The lineage fire in Boyle Heights brought back memories of the deadly Palisades Inferno, angering a voting bloc Bass desperately needs, Latinos. Then came news this week that a poll that the Bass campaign had promoted, claiming that she held a commanding lead over Raman, turned out to be fake. Bass came out looking like someone incapable of overseeing paint dry, let alone running America's second largest city. And now this debate. All the mayor could sputter in her closing remarks was that Raman does not have the support of any of her colleagues, yet another line she had repeated ad nauseum. When it was her turn, Raman said she keeps hearing from residents that this city feels rudderless. I have news for you, Angelenos. You're right, she continued. No one is in charge right now. Wait, what? Then, instead of launching another fusillade against Bass, Raman went for something few people associate with LA nowadays. Hope. You have every right to expect more from your city, Raman proclaimed, her voice strong and clear. She urged Angelenos to raise our expectations of what's possible and strive for a city that's affordable, functional, safe, joyful, ambitious. A few months ago, that would have sounded like the delusional ramblings of someone with no chance of winning. After Wednesday night's debate, Raman seems like LA's final best chance. No, I don't want to fucking watch the debate, man. Wait, is this AI? PTC Punjabi USA co-sponsored?
Scale businesses across the entire city. And what they're saying is that they have a city hall and a mayor who has not invited them in and who has not created the supportive environment.
Bro, she's not even fucking in focus, man. What the heliante, bro? God, Karen Bass is so bad. It's just, I don't even want to talk about this. This is your city, dog. You can't pretend it don't exist. I'm pretending. I'm pretending. Isn't this good for Nithya? It is. But also, ugh, God. I don't know, man. I'm done. I'm done talking about this. I'm not talking about. What the fuck do we do for CA? That's gonna be my next mission.
With Democrats.
There's simply no preparing you for how undignified last night's LA mayoral debate was. To pick who leads a city with a GDP larger than many European countries. Yeah, Max Fisher is right. I'm sorry, the Sherman hoax homeowners association didn't pay for a Zoom account that would have allowed more people to watch the unhinged mayor debate that I just watched. Second largest city in the country, home to Hollywood. It was in a rec room and the moderator closed by asking the audience to help put away the chairs. Schumer defended Abdul. Wait, what?
Look, the bottom line is we're going to win Michigan. Let me tell you why we're going to win Michigan. First, El Sayed has brought in new energy and new talent.
Stop. I don't know how I feel about this. No, it's good. It's good.
Into the Democratic Party. But
why did Karen Bass even go to Cuba as a Cuban? This shit is so weird, dude. No, she used to be radical. That's not a joke. She did Venceremos, the Venceremos Brigade. She was actually a radical back in the day. Karen Bass has like a pretty solid track record. Yes. 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 She used to be dope as fuck. Yes. Is this AI? No.
But also in Michigan itself. But second, Michigan, Trump has so bungled the Michigan economy. You know, the numbers for Trump on how well he's doing in keeping costs down in the economy is in the low 30s. In the country, it's in the high 20s in Michigan. Why? He created a trade war with Canada. Anyone who's halfway decent as president knows that the Michigan economy and the Canadian economy are totally intertwined. And he's blown it. We're going to win Michigan.
Thank you, Comrade Schumer. Imperial harem politics, imported Slavic wives, endless wars with Persia, complex relations with Arabs, protector of Jews, ostentatious displays of wealth, endless corruption, extreme state brutality towards rebels. Is Trump the last Ottoman Sultan? Yeah. Salt and concentrating power, territorial expansion, controls trade roads, Slavic wives, luxurious palaces, red hats, dominates the neighboring sea, succession battles, red hats. It's fucking true, dude. Maybe that's why I feel so close to him. Where's your fez? It's behind me. Why do we care about Natalie? It's good to cover lip slop sometimes. Karen Bass said, my life's mission will be accomplished when the Democratic Party is to the left of me, so she just went to the right instead. Well, Karen, mission accomplished.
Just as it has always
No, it's not. I did a thing. It's Mario Naval or whatever. People always say this is incoherent. What is brown white supremacy? The real truth is, it shouldn't be Zoran here, it should be me. I fall somewhere in between both the Aryan spectrum and the brown-white, and the brown spectrum. And I'm firmly on the woke side. And the only reason why Nick Fuentes is on the chud side of like the center is because he's a white Mexican. He's white-sican. These are white supremacy's strongest soldiers who happen to be brown, who are, you know, who range from liberal to reactionary, reactionary liberal to reactionary right-winger. Why is Jason the Ween? That's not Jason the Ween, man. That's Ian Miles Chung. He's not even Viet. He's Malaysian. Y'all are just racist, man. Jesus Christ. That's wild. Y'all are coming after nephew aggressively. Matthew Petty said you spent more time analyzing this chart than he did making it. I look back at it all the time. Why is Ludwig from co-working Aryan Chud? He's not. That's not Ludwig. That's a different guy who was trying to debate Mehdi Hasan. I say trying because I don't think he got to do the debate, if I'm not mistaken. I found a good one with you in it. More likely to get bit by a zombie, more likely to bite a zombie. Would tell others they were bitten, more likely to hide a zombie bite. So I'm in the middle. I'm not more likely to get bit by a zombie, but I'm also not. I'm just somewhere in between. I could go in either direction. I could bite a zombie or I could get bit by one, but I'm definitely I would likely tell other people. This one confuses me. Somewhere in between Thomas Massie and Joe Biden. Why is Joe Biden at the true center of this? Like, how am I supposed to understand the compass alignment with Joe Biden as his true center? Consult Joe Rogan. I just don't get why Joe Rogan would be more likely to bite a zombie but then also not reveal, or why is he in the center of whether he would tell or not tell. Okay, we're done with this fucking chart. We're done with charts. We're done. No more political compass memes. We're done. Anyway, 2 minutes of Chinese cinematic soft power nuke trailer. U.S. getting roasted. Yeah, I already saw this, but fuck it, let's watch it. This is a trailer. This is a new Chinese movie. Flipping the Hollywood script, casting America as the invader. Which, by the way, America is the invader of Afghanistan. So I guess it's not really flipping a script. It's just true. And it shows you the perspective. It shows you the perspective of a Chinese chef that happens to be living in, I guess, is it Afghanistan or is it Iraq? I think it's in Iraq. I don't know. They just say like, I think it's like random Middle Eastern country. This is genuinely an exceptional movie, says Arnaud Bertrand. Probably the single best movie ever made on the Iraq War. It's called Once Upon a Time in the Middle East, and I just watched it in the Chinese movie theater, but I'm sure it'll be available abroad at some point. It follows the story of a Chinese chef, Xu Fu, who travels to Iraq pre-war to cook at a Chinese restaurant in Baghdad. When the war breaks out, he initially wants nothing to do with it. He's already bought his ticket home, but his boss Zaid, an official at the Water and Electricity Ministry, convinces him to stay and keep supplying meals to the safe zone for high pay. As the occupation descends into chaos, Xu Fu gets pulled deeper into the conflict. He's detained and interrogated by Americans for his ties to Zaid, who's become an insurgent after his family died in the war. Then he gets detained by the insurgency when they attack the U.S. prison where he was held, and he eventually ends up trying to protect a group of orphans from being recruited as child bombers. It's the contrary of pro-war propaganda, as war movies too often are. It's a film about how war swallows everyone who thinks they can stand apart from it. There are no glorious causes in it, no good or a bad side, only people caught in the madness. Oh my God, only the motherfucking Chinese could make a both sides are kind of in the wrong movie about the Americans invading Iraq. Oh my God, the permanent trade maxing nation, dude. It is the most Chinese attitude on this. Oh my God. The only time where the allowance is given to take a position, a hard stance in Chinese works is if it's China related. If it's related to the party, if it's related to the revolutionary history. Yeah. Chinese movies be like, the real victim was trade. Everyone was kind of a victim in this. But let's not forget who suffered the most, which was the amount of trade opportunities we had with both Iraq and the United States of America. The real victim was business. It's a lot more anti-American than Arnaud presents. Yeah. It's not even anti-American. Dude, China is the most apolitical country, okay? They're just apolitical. They're like, politics, what is that? Is that some form of trade? Politics? Are you talking about a version of trade that we can do? They just banned you on Bilibili? Okay, well, I mean, it's true. What the fuck? China's the Lex Friedman of international relations, okay? True center. No one else has ever tried it. No one else has ever attempted it. And no one else has ever succeeded in it. It's the contrary to pro-war propaganda. It's not even anti-American, at least not in the crude way. The film clearly blames the U.S. for starting the war, which they did, but Shufu ends up befriending a group of American soldiers who become patrons of his restaurant and are themselves clearly portrayed as victims of the war, as are Iraqis. As such, there's no hatred in this movie. The only hatred is against the hate itself. Oh my God. Yeah? How about they make a movie like this about the Civil War? I mean, maybe they have. I'd be shocked. You know? When Chiang Kai-shek was transporting metric tons of gold to the island of Formosa, perhaps they were also thinking about both sides. You know? Perhaps there was a good reason for him to do that. Right? No, not our Civil War. I'm saying like they wouldn't do that about something related to Chinese history. Because sometimes there is a right side and a wrong side. It's kind of ridiculous. It didn't impact trade. It was. Trade suffered tremendously. Anyway, which makes it very subtle and profound film. It never lectures, never simplifies, and lets the tragedy play out quietly until it overwhelms you. People weary of Hollywood's black and white framing, where wars are always morality plays with designated good guys, will find it deeply refreshing. Here, there are just human beings, which is precisely what makes it so devastating. Look, I will reserve my judgment until I watch it. Oh my God, look at this. This film, in a way, offers a response to those who criticize China for not intervening in certain conflicts in the Middle East, such as the one in Iran, or Africa, such as in Eastern DRC. When a local situation is so complex, how can an outsider claim to know who's right and which side to take? This is why it's tough for me to sometimes sit there and act as though that like Khrushchev was not or did not play a pivotal role in global affairs. Okay? Do you understand? Like, people will shit on him for de-Stalinization, but he was there when it mattered. Bro, libs in China are literally criticizing the film, calling it too anti-American. Jesus Christ. All right, well, like I said, I'll reserve my judgment for. I will reserve my judgment for after I watch it. But Arnaud's coverage is leaving much to be desired.
This is the Chinese chef I was telling you about, Mr. Shu Fu. Hasan? 我这餐馆是在天天排大队，说话不是白的，这正挣钱好时候。
Mr. Shu, you really think you got nothing to do with this war?
Where do they get the white people for this movie? Bro, it's China. You don't think they have enough white monkeys? Are you crazy? That's a Chinese term for it. Before people yell at me, there's hella white people that, you know, are out of a job in China, okay? Yeah, this seems pretty clear who the baddies are. I mean, the trailer, when I watched it, made it seem like they clearly show who the baddies are as well, but Arnaud's summarization of it is a little bit confusing. Every review lands the same. Loosely adapted from real life accounts, most notably the story of Shui Xun, a young IT programmer from Shaanxi, and his partner Louis Lei, who left their jobs in Shenzhen to open the Chinese Dragon restaurant in Baghdad's Green Zone in 2004. The film follows the fictional protagonist Shu Fu, a cook who travels to Iraq to pay off his debts. He's detained by U.S. troops, captured by insurgents, and ultimately risks everything to save local orphans from being forced to become child bombers. The film takes no sides and preaches no agenda. Restrained yet powerful, it presents war itself as a sole villain. It consumes everyone, and no one can truly stand apart. No winners, only survivors. See, this is why I'm too much of a Westerner. This is it. This is the cultural clash that I was talking about. I am too much of a Westerner to look at this and see it as like a valid or a valiant effort to address the real antagonist is war. I think it comes across as like shallow. It comes across as you want him to take the Afghan side. First of all, it's Iraq. Secondly, I would want them to take the side of the victims, yes, which would be the regular citizens of Iraq. Like, yes, if we're watching, it's third culture POV. I mean, if we're watching a unjustifiable, your mood has an apt coverage of it.
Everyone in China is talking about this movie called Once Upon a Time in the Middle East. It is about the US and UK's invasion of Iraq in early 2000, how extremists were created, and the devastating impact of wars on a country, on ordinary people, especially on children. And
I'll be honest though, I think Lee will probably take a stronger stance about America's invasion of Iraq than average Chinese netizen.
Strongly encourage you to watch it too. This movie left me shocked, touched, and crying in the cinema. It not only shows the trauma wars leave on people, it also shows China's attitude toward world peace. Let me explain. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the movie. When you look at posters of the movie, you think it's a comedy about a Chinese restaurant, especially since the lead actor is China's most famous comedian Shen Teng. But I was wrong. I didn't expect to feel so heartbroken by the movie. The movie follows the Chinese chef Xu Fu, who went to run a Chinese restaurant in a country in West Asia. At first, he was purely driven by money, but as wars broke out and the country was torn apart, he and his friends were dragged into the chaos and forced to cook for different forces. He saw
I hate world peace. No, dog. Listen. The Marxist tradition is supposed to be no war but one. Okay? Class war. And if that's the case, you talk about the events that unfolded and the build up to this. This is how you frame it. Okay? You frame it as these wars are fought and the workers lose no matter what. Okay? It's not a centrist summary saying, well, you know, oh, well, the poor imperial soldiers are also victims in this circumstance, or rather, the real victims in this circumstance also did some crazy shit. The global proletariat is the true victim of war, Hasan. Put on your Maoist glasses. You can't, you fool. It's seriously an amazing and nuanced film. Very anti-war, up there with the greats.
how the US bombed and destroyed a country, how some US soldiers at the front line treated local people as non-human, and how some other US soldiers were just ignorant kids that want to go home. He saw how war orphans in the country were used and trained to be suicide bombers by terrorists, how foreign invaders deprived every
Oh, Jesus.
everything local people had and left them no choice but to join terror groups to revenge. But throughout the movie, Xu Fu keeps telling everyone 好好吃饭 means eat properly. He tried his best to provide decent food for children in the war zone, even if it means risking his own life. The story was inspired by true stories of Chinese people who worked in Iraq, but instead of one person, it was based on several people's stories. You probably know how much Chinese people love and value food. From a country that constantly suffered famine and wars to a country with abundant food for 1.4 billion people, China made a lot of effort. And I think it's a philosophy that any political power should focus on. How to feed its people and let people 好好吃饭. Everyone in
Why do you sound like you've only read Nothing Is to Be Done by Vladimir Liberal? That's because that's my North Star, that's my guiding principle. All I'm saying is it kind of shows you China's non-interventionist attitude around global affairs. You got to see it, bro. It'll certainly be playing in LA. I will 100% see it. Look, my attitude on it is that it'll be unique and it'll be novel regardless. It'll be novel regardless because it's made by... It's not even like Hong Kong cinema at this point. It's Chinese cinema. It's mainland Chinese cinema, which is in many respects not exactly... it doesn't have... it has a pure Chinese attitude. So it will still be unique. It's, you know, I'm excited. What is this? Stop. Anyway. Non-interventionism is pragmatism. You as a Western idealist will never understand it. Okay, dude, you're right. You're right. Well, if you have all the power in the world and you do nothing with it, at some point, maybe it is. Maybe I am too much of a filthy Westerner, you know. But it's good to move your weight around a little bit. That's how I feel about this. Highly recommend this one. Atonement Review. Boyd Holbrook and Shattering Him a Boss. Grace a drama that widens the perspective on survivors of war. This is basically a Chinese movie made for Chinese right-wingers, libs. I don't like it as a left-wing Chinese. Apparently, libs in China thought it was too critical of America. I wish mainstream people knew how often you get hate from people in to the left of you. I don't think mainstream media should know that. And it's not for people to the left of me don't understand that I don't entertain the ideological squabbles as much or like publicize it, because I think it's a cowardly thing to do, to constantly be like, look at me, I'm so moderate in comparison to these real radicals. I don't like that. I only yell at them internally in this community and sometimes on Twitter when I can't stand it because it shows up on my For You page, but often from the perspective of them behaving as weirdos or wreckers. I think it's bullshit. I'm pragmatic. I mean, I am pragmatic. Bleeding heart libs equals not socialist. Feeling is idealism. Okay, dude, you're the what? You're the sociopathic socialist? Is that what it is? My roommate is slowly warming up to you, and today they said they're not voting for anyone who doesn't have a smear campaign featuring you. Wait, what? What does that even mean? Like, as in, he's only voting for people who have been smeared for being associated with me? That's interesting. Anyway, a new Chinese psyop, Chung, has emerged. Oh yeah, this is the lady who interviewed. This is the lady who interviewed what's his face, the Odyssey interviewer, right? And then they found out that she has like a bunch of she's like plagiarized a bunch or something. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. Yeah, people online in China already accused her of plagiarizing. Yeah, I saw that. Most people online in China are making fun of the libs who still criticize the film as Wolf Warrior film when it's already so middle of the road. Yeah, I wanted it to be fucking Wolf Warrior. I wish it was. But on the other side, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be beast mode. That's what I thought. Is Mitch McConnell Is Mitch McConnell's wife in China still planning her new life? No, she came back. She came back. Let's look at this. Corbett Dillon. I don't know who this guy is, but he's scared.
I live in Washington, D.C. I hear what people are saying here, and I understand. I know a lot of people are disappointed with the Republican Party. You know, even President Trump himself is pretty annoyed that they can't get the SAVE Act passed. He hasn't been able to deport as many people as he wants. But my concern is that, particularly the young men, if these young men check out, you might be looking at a Democrat takeover of the White House. And we say Democrat, what do we really mean? These are socialists. This is exactly what we're looking at. And that is what happened in Europe. The takeover is very quick, very rapid. And if you think the border was open under Biden, wait until these socialists get in. They will flood the country with these people. It's the only way they can get power. They need...
Yeah, how about we just don't flood the country with this person? How about that?
Need these people to rely on government handouts to put them in the country. They'll do a mass amnesty. Everyone will be citizens. It's what we did in England. Every one of these people are becoming citizens. It's a real problem, and I'm scared. You know, we're running out of places to go. Where am I going to move to next if America becomes socialist?
Yuck. This is what you wanted? Yeah, this is what I wanted. Now this is cinema. This is Chinese cinema. No fucking moderate nonsense. No talk about like, yo, you know, well, both sides has some wrongs. Americans have to pack up and leave. The battle at Lake Changjin. This is where your reaction to this with Alexa did a lot of damage to your reputation because no one knew you on BDBD before that, and your sarcasm did not translate well. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, this is the battle where Mao's son died. You never finished it on stream with the Aussie boys? That's true. When you visiting Australia, man? Soon.
Hi, welcome to Hannity Tonight. Socialism, what, comes to my free state of Florida? Really?
Oh my God. Every night, this guy
The House Ethics Committee
says
confirmed
the
this week
same shit, bro. I'm so bored of fucking watching Fox News. I've literally lost interest. They say the same shit every damn night, dude.
We're in Austin, Texas, about to meet with 22-year-old Ryan Johnson, a social media influencer, bodybuilder, and transformation coach whose mission is simple.
Tan, jacked, and handsome. Tan, jacked, and handsome.
Be tan, jacked, and handsome.
The number one thing you should be focused on in your 20s
I gotta get on TRT, man.
is becoming as f***able as possible. Because when you look as...
Hey. Hello, Ryan.
What's going on? Yes,
How's
Isabel,
it going, Isabel? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Wow, it's a beautiful spot you have.
Oh, yeah. It's a great place.
Gorgeous.
Everything's bigger in Texas here.
Including the men.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Ryan is big. And that's largely because he uses performance-enhancing drugs. He also spends his time promoting these drugs to his thousands of followers online who hope to look just like him.
Can we normalize hopping on testosterone in your 20s as a man? I said it once and I'm going to say it again. Staying now.
I think it's incredibly damaging to promote to young men the idea of cycling T at such an early age. I've always been somewhat open-minded to the utilization of TRT. But I don't think you need to touch it until you're well into your 30s. I'm 35 now. If you do it before, if you do it in your 20s, first of all, it's a waste. It's literally a waste. Your body is already naturally producing incredible amounts of testosterone. And secondly, you age rapidly. You age rapidly. It makes no sense. You look like you go, is this medical advice or vibes? No, I mean, it's vibes. Nothing I'm saying is medical advice. I'm a doctor. I have a doctorate in racism, as you guys know. A doctorate in jihad and a PhD in racism. Nothing about anabolic steroids or anything like that. But your hairline starts receding. Then why would you want to be on it? Because I'm already 35. And once you reach a certain point in your life, your body doesn't naturally produce the same level of testosterone. So once you go over the hump, it can have at least some like, I want to say healing properties, but it just has...
Natural is for losers. If you want to become successful, literally just take steroids, bro. Getting on testosterone will make you the most motivated, productive, unlazy, disciplined individual ever. For all my other health protocols, DM me the word group and I'll send you an invite link to my enhancement community. Okay, so we got a whole stock and a whole supply of peptides right out here. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
He looks so ridiculous.
Holy cow! Oh
Yes.
my god! Whoa!
Whole lifetime supply.
Jesus.
More like a monthly supply for us.
How many different types of drugs do you have
Look at
in
his
this
hairline,
house?
bro.
A lot of peptides, a lot of steroids, I will say that.
Jesus, you're like one big walking guinea pig.
That's the way to look at it. Little lab rat.
Yeah.
Follow me back over here. Come down here as part of the morning routine. And we got some syringes right here. Get the little air bubble out of there. And that's good to go. And all you do is you pick a fat area and you go to
Do you have any fat areas?
Oh yeah. So like right over here is where I'll typically go. It's like the back fat.
That's crazy.
You don't even feel it.
Where do you do all your research?
It's online, online, YouTube. There's a lot of good creators out there who know their stuff. Reddit's a great place to hear about, of course, nerd.
Oh no. Oh no. This guy is 22 years old. No fucking shot. He looks 42, bro. That's what I'm saying. Yo, what are we watching at work?